Okay, I hit the button. I think that means we're live. Everything looks like it's supposed to look on this end. So hopefully there's some people there, and if you're there, give me a shout in the chat so I can know if the audio's working, etc. I've had a ton of problem already today. When I got in here a good hour and a half ago to get things ready, and discovered my main camera had gone on the fritz. So I just spent the last hour unhooking that and connecting up a different camera and trying to get it trying to get things working like they're supposed to work, and looking like they're supposed to look. My camera that faces this way that one was working, but the one that shows my desktop and all the important stuff just wouldn't work. It kept freezing up, and anyway, I'm as usual a tad frazzled because of everything not going smoothly. But anyway, hi Jackie. I guess we're gonna do this like normal. If you see a question that I'm not responding to, please call it to my attention. I'm glad to know the sound is working, because that would have been a whole nother ball of ugly wax if I had to deal with sound problems and camera problems on the same day. But so here we go. My screen tells me there's people watching, but you're not commenting, so I'm going to assume that means you are not hooked up with your YouTube or signed into a YouTube account, which means you can't participate in the chat. But I'm going to just know you're out there, and so we're going to have a good day today. Yes, Jackie, if you want to post my website information up there, that'd be great. So hi Bill, thanks Jackie for letting me know that, and hi Bill, glad you're out there. I know there's a couple other people that let me know they'd be watching, but they're also not YouTubers, so they're just watching, and that's great. I'm glad you're there. I'm glad you let me know you're there, because otherwise I'm over here wondering, am I talking to myself? But anyways, so today let's go ahead and get rolling, because we're 2 minutes into our time, and I'm gonna just, let's see here. I have this picture, my reference for today, or the picture that I used to advertise what we're doing. It's in a frame, and I didn't have, because I had camera problems, I didn't have time to take this out of the frame, but let's see if I can hold this up beside my head and get it in the frame without too much glare. Now's when having a little bit of lag causes me problems, because I move and then I have to watch my screen and wait for it to happen. But I think that's got that in the picture there, so you can see. Hi Linda, glad you're here. Trying to guess which way to turn this, and it's really backwards from it's counterintuitive to me, but I think I've got that showing. Whoops, nope, more glare. Trying to get the glare off the glass so you can see the picture. That's probably about the best I'm going to get it to get it up there. And now I'm going to go ahead and put it down on my tabletop, and let's see if I can press the right buttons to get things showing here. Ooh, it's really dark on there. It wasn't so dark. Hope that it's not going to be that dark when I'm painting. Okay, that looks better when I'm not. Okay, so you just aren't going to be able to see this real good because of camera issues today. But anyhow, this is what we're working on, and the first thing I wanted to tell you is, oh, thank you, Jackie. The first thing I wanted to tell you is it's kind of better if you don't have a real big plan. And I have messed up my keys to tell if I'm putting sorry, I do apologize for being flustered. I just can't seem to have a day that this all happens, that I don't have some glitch or something to deal with. But anyway, there. And now that on my screen, the top of my head's cut off. Hopefully that's not happening. But anyway, if you have a real strong plan for this, you're going to probably be disappointed. This is something that it's better to just jump into it and kind of see where it takes you. We're going to put paint on the paper and play with it, and we're going to do some layering. And also, while I'm looking at your camera screen, I feel like I need sunglasses. My lighting is so different than usual because of switching cameras. So if I'm squinting at you like this, I'm sorry. It just means I'm looking into a lot of light because I was trying to get this working with my different camera. Okay, so we're going to use watercolor paper, and we're going to put a lot of water on it. And for that reason, if you're not using something that's like, here, let me show you. This would be ideal. This is a watercolor block. Oops, it's upside down. Why is it upside down? Well, anyways, look at that. This opens this way, and that writing is upside down. That's weird. But anyway, this is a watercolor block, meaning it's watercolor paper, and the sides are glued down. Now, this particular block I don't really like all that well because this whole side and this whole side are not glued down. They only glued down the top and bottom. So I don't find that this one is my favorite as a block. It's good paper. So I tore a sheet off of this, and I cut it in half, and I taped it down to my board. It's 140-pound paper, and I guess you saw the brand. It's this fluid watercolor block, cold press. I almost always paint with cold press. I just like it better. But if you had a better block, watercolor block, and all your sides are glued down good, that's ideal. If you don't have that and you've just got loose paper, then do what I did here and make sure and tape all your edges down really good. Hi, Sally. You got to tape all your edges down all the way around. You know, I have seen people, when I say tape your paper down, they tape this corner and they tape this corner and they tape this corner and tape this corner, and that's not going to be adequate for what we want to do, because putting a whole ton of water on here, you know, your paper is going to start warping and buckling up, and you're not going to get, you need this flat surface for your paints to just kind of go where they're going to go correctly. If your paper's warped, then it's going to make your paint want to run downhill, you know, all that. Anyway, so tape your paper down really good to some sort of a board, and this is just hardboard. I use that a lot. I also have a bunch of different other kinds of boards, but they splinter. This kind, if you get it wet too long, you're going to end up probably with it with eventually water will start soaking into this surface and degrading the surface. So you can coat it with a layer of varnish or something like that, or some clear acrylic, and that might help prevent that a little bit. But for now, this is what we got. I'm going to take this larger brush than what I normally use and get the paper really wet. I'm also going to use this spray bottle. This is a fine mist spray bottle. I also have this bottle that I use sometimes, but when I can't adjust it to get a fine mist out of here. Sometimes that's good because I want big splats of water, because I'm trying to get some different, you know, some not a smooth, consistent layer of water on. If I'm working on some textured thing like that, this bottle's good for that. And that'd be fine for this too. But anyway, you can spray paper with your mister and get it wet that way. That's helpful. If we're trying to get the page really soaked, which is what we're going to do. Now, we're also, I told you it's better to not have a plan. The reason I do this with not having a plan is because I'm going to put a lot of color out in here, just randomly have it run together, and I'm going to play and see what colors I want to put together, and I can have a little bit of an idea. I can have like 3 or 4 colors picked out. That's a good plan. But to get too far into it, overthinking it, you're not going to like that with this, and you're going to end up with too much color mixing, and you'll have mud on your paper, and everything will look gray brown. Won't be fun. So to go ahead and get started here, let's see here. I have a couple different screens. Let me experiment for a second. Oops, I forgot there's a little tiny bit. I gotta wait 4 or 5 seconds there. That one, which one am I on right now? That one is more of a close-up on my paint palette, and with all these lights I have on everywhere, this still looks dark to me. Hopefully you can see my colors pretty good. I've got a glare from my ring light happening. That might get rid of it a little bit, but I'm trying to get the light to bounce back into the paint palette from off the wall. Hopefully that's working, and you can see the colors in here. And I see that I was painting seahorses, and I've got some brown going on right here, which I don't want. But I did leave a lot of this color on my paint palette because I want you to see how you can just pick up crazy colors from wherever. Pick up whatever you have there and put it onto this paper. And so I'm going to go ahead and start painting while I'm talking. And hopefully those of you that are watching that are not YouTubers, I don't know, if you've got my number, you can text me, or you can text Jackie your question or something like that. Oops, I had a little something in that brush. I don't have any way to know what your questions are if you can't type them in the chat or text it to me. So, and I hope that doesn't become a problem, that I cover everything you want to know. But anyway, see how I'm just getting this really, really wet? My paper's already starting to puff up because it's soaked up and absorbed a bunch of water, and it's I can see it turning into a sponge here and kind of getting enlarged. And let's see, I think this screen doesn't have, oops, should have done that. I need to get me out of the picture. Hopefully that does it. There. I've just got a bunch of water on there. Now, if I'm, making that plan that I told you about, I want to put, oh, and here's another really key important thing. This first layer is going to be the color that shows through when we draw the butterfly shape on here. So you don't want all those really dark background colors. Let's see if I can show you this again and get it in the light in a way that there's not glare. All of this pretty vibrant and dark color here, that goes on the second layer. This light color right here is what we want to do right now, because we're going to draw a shape and then we're going to paint around that shape to get these other colors on there. So this is like a multiple step process, and you've got to start with some light colors. So for my light colors, I'm going to put on some, for my yellow, I'm going to use quinacridone gold, and I'm just going to slop some on there like that. And then I'm going to put on some magenta, which I will use later in a darker version, but I want to just put some through here, and so I'm going to try to keep it light and watery. Get plenty of water on there for that color. So I've got that watery. Now, I think I'm gonna use, I'm gonna go with cobalt. Nope, cerulean. Cerulean blue. It's not as light as my turquoise blue, but it is a really pretty and light colored blue that I'm going to put in here. And I'm just going to randomly stick it in places because this color, I got too much of the gold left in my brush. This color that we're putting on here needs to be pretty but light. The brush is just really holding too much water. I think I'm going to be done with that one. Switch to, I've got a 1-inch flat angled brush. My flat angle brushes are my favorite, so I use them all the time. There, I like that better already. I don't mind the green on there, but I want some blue to actually be there. And these colors may not, they're not going to stay just like this. They're going to get covered up, but at the same time, they're going to be showing through, even in the darker areas where we're painting over with the other darker color. Some of this is going to show through. It's like an underpainting. If you've ever done much acrylic or oil paint, and you can make an underpainting sometimes, and that will affect, even if you're painting your walls inside your house. If you're going to go, say you've got a really light color on your walls and you want to put some vibrant dark color, they'll frequently advise you to paint a darker colored primer underneath of it. Sometimes it may be gray, sometimes it may be red, depending on what is needed to make the final coat get that right glow and have the right light and color to it. Your underpainting affects that, and so the same thing here. This is, in fact, I think that's probably good enough. This is an underpainting. Granted, part of it's going to show through, so we do want it to be pretty. But that's all we need right there. I might just lighten that just a little, because I can. But I think that's all I need to do. Now, this has to dry. So now's when we can talk a little bit. If you have questions, if you have comments, if you anything like that. Meanwhile, I'm just going to tell you, getting this part on here and getting it to dry, this takes some time. Now, if I had a blow dryer, I could blow dry it and make it dry faster, but I'm not a fan of that, and my reasoning is because if you put the now I don't remember which button to push. Hopefully that's the right one. If you put air on there and you're hitting it with a stream of warm air to dry it, that must not have been the right button, because nothing happened on my screen. And nope. Try this one. There I am. Okay, so that stream of air blowing on there, to my mind, that's going to be pushing my pigment around, and it's going to alter how my painting looks. So I'm not a fan of blow drying my work. If you like to maybe you are a person that likes to blow dry, feel free to blow dry your piece and get it drier. Especially with this much water on it, it's going to take a little bit of time to dry. I have so much water, it's actually seeming like it's going under my tape. I don't know if it is, or I don't see how it could be, but I did put a lot of water because I wanted it to just really, I wanted my colors to melt together really good. So that's my opinion on this technique. So while we're letting that dry, I want to talk to you a little bit about what we're going to do. We're going to take a pencil or something and just draw a butterfly shape. And it doesn't need to be, here, let me just show you on a piece of scrap paper, which I should have tons of. I don't. This is going to work. Okay, so pick this up, move it aside. I didn't ever get a ponytail holder on either because I got so tied up changing out my camera. But we're just going to draw over the top of the painting we just did. We're just going to put a butterfly shape, something like, you know, really very simple, like that. That's really good enough. You don't even have to draw a butterfly. You could draw a Christmas tree. This, if you did this in Christmas colors, a Christmas tree would be pretty, especially a stylized one, something like that. Maybe with a little pile of boxes here below it for presents. You could draw any of that kind of stuff you want to draw. You're just going to draw a basic outline of a shape over top of your colors that you just put on there. And then what we're going to do, we're going to paint the layers around it, and then we're also going to take pens and markers and stuff like that and draw patterns inside of here. Something like, maybe put something like that, and then put, oh, I could zoom in, I guess, and show you. Put something like that on there. And this is where you can make things match left to right or not. Make them different. Because whether you like symmetrical or asymmetrical is totally up to you. But see, you could just start putting designs on there, and we're going to do all of these lines with gel pens and colored markers, and if you have them, metallic pens, any kind of stuff like that. And all these designs we do in here, this is going to go over top of the lighter background color. So that's where we're headed. And I also wanted to tell you, if you don't know where to get your patterns, let me pull some of these things over. Let me just put this over here so it can be drying. If you don't have any good ideas, or you think you don't have any good ideas, ideas are easy to come up with. This right here is a book I found in the library, but I liked it so well, was checking it out all the time. I liked it so well, I actually went on Amazon and looked it up and found a used copy of it, bought it for myself, and had it shipped to me. So it's just a pattern book. There's all kinds of ideas in here of patterns to use, and swirly things and leafy things, and this is a pattern that I like, and you can just come up with great ideas from a pattern source book. There's tons of them everywhere. You can go to Barnes and Noble and buy a new one, or like I said, go to the library or go on Amazon and look them up. And once I bought this one, then you know how it works with Amazon. They started suggesting a ton of other options to other books, and so I actually found another one to buy. This one is organized in different styles. This is the Celtic section. There's a North American folk art section, ancient Egyptian patterns. Source books are fun, pattern source books. You also can go online and Google don't remember exactly what I Googled to get these things, but I've got tons of them, ideas and stuff that just I found, and some of this I printed off the internet, and some of it I Xeroxed out of books that I have. I have a Celtic patterns book that I Xerox pages out of sometimes, so I can put it right here and hold this pattern in my hand and copy it. This particular one has instruction on how to draw those patterns. And I've got little things where I just get an idea, pops into my head, and sorry, my Google Assistant is trying to get my attention over there. I don't know why it's doing that. Oh, because I said Google things. I better whisper that so my phone doesn't try to get my attention and tell me it's looking up stuff. But anyway, this is just where I just find ideas and I scribble them down somewhere, and I keep a folder full of all these ideas. This I've had for so many years. This page is starting to yellow, but I just got an idea for a pretty butterfly wing one time, so I scribbled it down on a piece of paper and held on to it. I've also, let's see, there's patterns like this, patterns like this. I probably looked up mandalas or something like that, or Zentangle. This is just some miscellaneous different things I found. I found pages like this that just are full of all these different little doodling type of ideas. These patterns are great. So, I keep them on hand in this envelope. When I get stuck for an idea, I whip this out and start looking to see if I can find inspiration. This is a piece of gift wrapping paper, because gift wrapping paper a lot of times has great patterns on it, and you can just get an idea whether you do exactly that idea or you change it up a little bit and draw your own version of it. But anyway, that's what I've got there. Oh, and I get flyers in the mail all the time, and sometimes they've got such great pattern and stuff on them. I just save them in my pattern envelope here, because you can get great ideas looking at this stuff. And I don't know, maybe there aren't any Pier 1s anymore. I don't even know if they're all gone or not, but I've saved so many of these flyers I got in the mail from them, because they've got great ideas for patterns, and sometimes I flip through it and something I see like this right here, this really pretty peacock with this ferny leaves, and what that looks to me like, it might be a flower, but it might also, let me see if I can zoom in and show that to you close up so you can see what I'm talking about. That could be a flower, but it might also, I'm not sure I've got that in there. Okay, it might also be a slice of a fruit of some kind. I mean, that looks like it could be, I don't know, maybe a blood orange or something. Don't know, but it sparked that in my mind, and so now I've got that idea to work with. So that's where you can get a lot of great ideas from stuff like that. You also can find ideas and inspiration in magazines, let's see, what have I got here? I love succulents, so I picked up this magazine, and flipping through here, I just get a lot of really good ideas. These things are beautiful. I like how that looks on that page. I guess I'll show you the page that I marked. I love how that looks right there. And all of this is just, it's color and texture and pattern ideas right out of a magazine. I also save visitor guides for gardens that I go to, because I really like a lot of natural stuff in my work. So sometimes these visitor guides have really interesting things in here, and I can get, if I can find where it went. I love bamboo, and so looking at that, I can see some pattern of a bamboo forest. So that's a cool idea. I like even that map of this place. I can see that being an overall pattern that I would incorporate somehow in my work. So just wanted to tell you, keep your eyes peeled around you in your everyday going about life. You'll find patterns and things that spark ideas to you. You may not do exactly what it is you see, but it'll give you an idea. And yes, Sally's saying you can find some of these doodling or adult coloring therapy, coloring books, find ideas in those. Ideas are everywhere. So don't let yourself believe, that, or debunk that thinking in your mind that you're not creative and that you don't have any good ideas. Because you need to learn how to see, and then you start seeing ideas everywhere. I do anyway. It's dangerous for me to be awake it's dangerous for me to be awake because I'm seeing ideas and I'm getting way too many ideas of too much stuff to do, and it's dangerous for me to go to sleep because then I dream about things I could do and ideas. Okay, so my paper is not bone dry, but it's dry enough that I can start drawing a little bit of my ideas on it. So I'm going to pick which area I like best on here that I want to show in my through in my butterfly that I'm going to draw. So I'm gonna, let's see, I guess I like that area right there. So I'm gonna put my butterfly right there, and I'm just gonna not try to get too fancy with my butterfly shape. I'm gonna let the pattern and the stuff that I add to it be what makes my butterfly really decorative. And I think I'll do that, and I'll just make this come down here and put a little round bit and some antenna off up that way. So let's see if I zoom in again, if I've drawn that dark enough that you can see it. And I just use a regular pencil, and I just put the outline, not a lot of definition at all. Not sure, I guess you can see that. You can get the general idea of what I've got going there. Just lightly make a pencil drawing of whatever your subject is going to be. In this case, mine is a butterfly. And if you're painting along with me, then you can draw a butterfly shape. And that is all of that I need to do. Now I'm going to start putting some of the extra stuff in there that is going to show through. And at this point, if you have crayons or wax pastels or anything like that you wanted to put a couple of marks on here, you could put some random dashes or lines or things. Those will act as a resist when you put your next watercolor layer on. So that's a cool thing to add at this point. Also, metallic markers will behave that way. And I was just about to start looking for my markers when I discovered my camera wasn't working. So let me step across my studio here and grab those markers. So I've got, this is just a Sharpie, but it's a gold metallic thing, and I can make some lines or designs or anything on here. And one of the things I'm going to do today is, I think snails or something. Wait a second, I got to get a drink. Excuse me. So I think of snails, and they have that curled shell on the back of them. So I'm going to just put some curled designs on here and just put them kind of randomly. And I've got my marker over on its side, so it's not making an exact smooth line, and that I'm doing on purpose. Now I'm going to also make a sort of a leaf shape here, and I'm doing this all with my metallic marker there. So I just have a couple of little things that I put on there with that marker. I also have these pens that are metallic, and this one's copper. So let's see, I'm going to just put some design randomly on here. And this, again, is where I told you I didn't really have a plan. I don't have a piece of paper laying over here somewhere with a pattern I'm following. I'm making this up as I'm going. This is this is art therapy of the type that you're just kind of relaxing, doodling, creating. This kind of stuff really will make your it will make your mind kind of unplug from the stress of the day and relax and do something creative in a way that is art therapy, like you hear talked about all the time. Okay, that's pretty good there. I'm going to just put a couple out here for fun. And then I'll put another little, oh, I see something in my paint right there. It's not there, but I'm seeing it as I'm looking at the way my paint spread out there. I can just see. And that kind of is maybe more like a nautilus shell than a snail, but that's okay. Because this being my artwork, I get to put in it whatever I want to put in it. So, let's see what else I have here. I might use that in a minute, so I'm going to keep that. And the rest of these I'm going to set back aside over here. Now, no, I think I will put a little something. This is a pastel chalk. That's not what I want. I'm going to get, see if this, I don't know if this pen will work. This is a Sharpie white paint pen. It says extra fine point. I'm not sure it's, well, it does look like it is. It's not what I thought it was. Let me see if, I don't have, I used to have this thing that was like a, almost like a calligraphy pen, had a really wide tip on it, and I could make wide marks. I think it was actually what you use to, like when you're typing and you make a mistake and you want to white out a whole line, and maybe it was working for handwritten stuff because you could white out a line of writing, and so it made like a little wide, you know, like the width of one line of text somewhere. And I don't know what I've done with that. That would be perfect for this right here, but I'm not seeing it in my stuff over there. So oh, I know what I could use. I've got this stuff right here that I find I'm liking using this. It's Dr. P.H. Martin's Bleed Proof White. Actually, I can paint over this. I'm looking for something that's going to be like a resist. Let me see here. And I just will get out my handy dandy oil pastel set that I've had for, I didn't even know how long I've had this thing. But it's just oil pastels. And I'm going to take this white one. It's going to react kind of like a crayon. So if you don't have the right thing, but you do have kids in your house and they have some crayons, one of these would work. And I'm going to put a little heart shape right there. Because I am creating art and it's making my heart happy today. I'm going to put this right here, kind of overlapping that leaf. And that's just going to act as a little bit of a resist. See, I need one more something somewhere. I make a fern shape going right across there. So there's the stem, and then I'm going to just put some dots there for little leafy things on that fern. That's pretty good for that. Okay. You could do this with color too. I'll put a pink something in here, so just so you see. There. It doesn't all have to be white. Alright, so there's that. Now I'm going to take some more paint. It's still not 100% bone dry, but it's dry enough to paint on. My next layers are not going to disturb that color that's below there. It's dry enough. It feels a little cool to touch to the back of my hands, and plus it's still, you can kind of see the way the lighting is. You can see it's not laying 100% flat, which it will because I've got it taped down. If I let this dry for a couple of hours, it's gonna go back 100% flat. And it's not there right now, so it's not 100% dry, but it is dry enough to start painting on again. So, going to the next step, I'm gonna get started with my 1-inch flat brush, but when I get over in here, I may switch to the smaller one just so I can not paint over my butterfly here. And this, what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna just start picking up some color. I want a lot more of this quinacridone in here, so I'm just gonna put some color. I'm gonna dash this right over top of that. And for this, you can add a little less water than what you did on your first layer. Add a little less water to your paint so your pigment is stronger, and let your colors be darker. And I'm not rinsing my brush in between these colors here. I just am going from one color to the next. The only time that's going to maybe be a problem is if you use colors that are complementary, and there's too much of one color in your brush and it mixes together and turns brown. We don't really want a whole lot of brown on here. But this is where you're just going to start picking up color and dropping it on. I've got a little too much yellow on my turquoise there, so let me clean that up so that gets my turquoise color back to turquoise again. I hope you're being able to see the color good in here. I feel like I've got so many lights on, and I am squinting into the light, but I'm not sure that it's making the brightness that I wanted there to be on my paint palette and my paper. And you want to try to get your colors, get this color painted into here before that edge starts to dry, and this over here, I don't want that edge to dry either, so I'm going to go ahead and put some more magenta right up there. And just paint right up to the edge of my butterfly drawing. And you see how the colors below are kind of coming through, especially in the areas where we've got the resist on there and where we're painting around. And that is the general idea we want to do. Now I've got turquoise and magenta and the quinacridone gold. I want to be careful about adding too many more colors because I don't want mud happening. But I do want to get some color going in there where the colors are wet enough they're mixing together. I put purple over top of yellow, that might not have been a great idea, because the yellow will shine through that purple and it will affect how the purple looks. I'm going to get some more of the cerulean that I put in the bottom, and I'm going to put some of that right in here to bump up that blue color. And I am rinsing some of the color out here, because when I'm going back and forth from the, oh wait, I don't want to, it's my background there. I don't want all my color to end up green or brown. So there is a little bit of rinsing going on for that. And this kind of looks like I'm just slopping color on here. I kind of am. See, what do I want between those two colors? I'm going to put some more turquoise in there, I guess. Right there. And I'm just putting my brush down on its side a lot, kind of floating some color off the brush onto the paper, because that also will help lay the paint down in a way that the colors that are behind it show through. A lot of the turquoise up there around the top. I'm going to finish that off with some more of my cerulean blue. And I think that's all I need to do for my background color. I like what I've got going on there, and I'm going to let that be that. There's a lot of wet puddles of paint on there, and they're going to continue to kind of morph into a little bit different than how they are. And also, at this point, you can take your misting bottle and mist it a little bit. I'm going to kind of be selective about where I spray this mist. I might like these colors to blend just a little more, so I'm going to just spray that a little bit. And there's already a lot of water right there, so I'm not sure I want any more there. I'm not sure I like what that's doing, so I'm just going to put a little bit of mist on it, and you see how that ran over into the side there. I don't really want that there, so my paper towel will pick that extra up, and that's good. And this is, let's just put a little right there and see what that does. I think that's all of the misting that I want to do. Do a little bit right there. That actually just dripped out of my bottle, so I'm going to let that do that. So that is now going to do its watercolor thing. And again, we sort of have to wait a little bit. In this next step, we're going to be drawing in here to finish it off. But I usually balance my hand on the side where I'm drawing, and I can't do that right now on this part, because it will mess up how it looks. I'll end up with the paint all over my hand, and the paint on the paper won't look good. So I'm going to just kind of baby this a little bit along, like I just was dabbing some of that paint out of there. It's still kind of want to run back up in there. I think I'm going to let that just do that, because what I can do after all of this is dried up and it's not running in there anymore, I can use a clear water on a clean paintbrush and kind of move that around and lighten that up and fix that way. But overall, this is looking pretty. I've got a lot of bright, pretty color in here, even though I I didn't use every single color in my paint palette. Um, I used, I did put a little purple in here, but for the most part, it's the same colors I put on the background. I added purple, and I let my quinacridone gold and my blue colors mix together a little bit to get some greens going in here. And because the magenta here mixed with the quinacridone, I've got variations of red going in here now because they mixed together. And there's some mixing going on right here, and the pigments are kind of separating, and I got a little bit of granulation kind of starting to happen. One thing I was going to show you this, but now I think I might be overdoing it if I use this on here. I think I'm going to pass on the bleed proof white today, but I have used that in some of my other videos, so if you want to know, if you have any questions, feel free to ask me about that. You can paint with this white. It's Dr. P.H. Martin's bleed proof white, and you can paint over watercolor with this stuff and it will stay nice and bright white, so it's great for that. And you can paint it into wet paint and get some really cool effects going on there too, but right now I don't think I need them. Okay, change my mind. I'm just going to use a little bit of it. I'm going to take a smallish round brush, get a little water on it, dip it into this stuff, get a little bit on that on my paintbrush, and I'm just going to touch some dots in a couple of spots here because this is still wet enough. And I think let's see, that one went that way, so I'm going to put this in here like that. There. Okay, so just you can see what it will do. I'm going to go around this a little bit too because I like it. There. Just to give you a little bit of an idea how this stuff works, in case you want to know. I'm rinsing that out of my brush real good. I'm not 100% familiar with how this stuff works yet. I do know that once it dries, you can put water on it and reactivate it again, just like watercolor. So it's not like an acrylic paint or something like that, in case you want to know. So I'm setting that aside. Okay, now it's still gelling and doing its thing here. So I think I am going to go ahead and take another drink of my tea that I was trying to drink all morning long. I'm not sure exactly what Pro White is, Jackie. I guess maybe it is. It just says Dr. P.H. Martin's Bleed Proof White. And I do know that I'm allowed to use this in a lot of exhibits and things that I do. When I read the prospectus and it says it has to be watercolor or water media, this is allowed in that. And I think the main reason why is because once this is dry, I could go back in there with a wet paintbrush and still shift it around the same I can with my other watercolor paints. So it's not a white acrylic, you know, like something you could paint and then once it's dry, it's there, it's not going anywhere. That's not how this stuff works. Yes, the opacity level of this is up there, and that's what you need if you're going to do white and want to paint white over top of dark. You can't. Most white watercolors that I've used, and even white gouache, I can't get these bright white colors that stay nice and bright once they dry. If you want to go back in and put little highlights or details on your watercolor with white gouache or titanium white or some of the white that come in the tubes of the kits of watercolor tubes, those little paint sets, those things, when you paint with those, to my eye, they dry really cloudy. They aren't as pretty as they just look milky and kind of almost like grayed down. They don't stay bright white, and that's what I like about the P.H. Martin's bleed proof white. It does stay nice and bright. So I don't know, where do you get that pro white? Just the Michaels or the regular art store? Do you have to get it online or from Jerry's or someplace like that? I'm just asking because I haven't ever seen it. And I did get my bleed proof white that came from Michaels, but Jerry's also has it, and of course you can buy it online. So Blick's and Jerry's. All right, I'll have to look for that next time I'm in their store. So my piece is getting close enough that I feel comfortable starting to draw on it. So I'm going to just go ahead with that, I guess. And the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to take my flat angled brush with some clean water, or as clean as it is at this point. And I'm going to go ahead and clean up this edge right here. And I don't have to get it the whole way back to white because the thing isn't white to begin with. We painted that first layer on it. So I'm just going to shift that paint around just enough that I still can see the outline of my butterfly real good. And then I like drawing on it with white, with my white gel pen, but these colors might be a little too pastel for that, but I can just have a go at it and see what happens. And once this part is still too wet, once that part's dry, I will use my white gel pen to put the antenna on the top of this thing. So what I would normally start out with is outlining it and kind of dividing it into sections, but I think I'm going to skip that today and go ahead and start putting some pattern in here. And this is not really shaped like a swallowtail or a monarch. I just kind of threw some wings, a set of wings out there, but I am going to put this scallop edge on the bottom here because I like that pattern. Now this gel pen makes the kind of ink that you can't, let me see if I can zoom way in, and I'm going to have to switch to my other screen so I can see if I've got it in the frame or not. There, that is in the frame there. So you're not going to see this ink right away. We're hampered with the fact that my background is so pastel, you're not going to see it showing up really dark at all anyway. But when you draw with the gel pen, let me just make I'm going to make a flower right here. Hopefully that's in the frame. I'm drawing with the gel pen, and I know the ink is flowing out of my pen and it's going onto my paper. It's not dry, so you really can't see it yet. But as it dries, that's going to come forward. It's going to dry real white. So I'm going to let that go right there and let that stay in the frame until it dries so you can see it. That's one of the reasons I really like gel pens, is they add a little bit of mystery and fun to my painting, because I kind of got to wait and see what happens. And I like the whole idea of little flower shapes there, so I'm just going to put a couple more in it right here. because there's gonna have to be flowers near my butterfly, and these will be pretty. Alright, that's gonna have to dry. If I lean down, I can see where the ink is. I'm wondering if I tilt my my board, if you can get, I have to switch to the other screen too so I can see this in real time. I've got like about a 4-second lag happening for me here. Oops, I clicked the wrong button. That's the one I wanted to do. And I'm not really seeing, I can't get a glare or something to happen so you can see it like what I can see. Because it's right there. And I can see it with the light on it. Oh, there we go. See them starting to appear there, the way the light is getting on it. When the ink dries, it's going to be bright white right there where you can see those faint little ghost of an outline of flowers happening. So that's gel pens for you. Now, I think since this is so pastel, instead of using a lot of gel pen right there, I may switch back to one of my metallic pens. I've got a gold one, a silver one, and a copper one. And I think, let's see, silver is going to probably just look real dark, but I'm going to give a little bit of an outline just to see what I get here. Oh, this pen may have dried up. Yeah, that one's not going to do much for me, so put that aside. Let's try the gold one. And I'm just going to put a little outline on here. Again with a metallic gold pen. And I'm going to draw right over top of those other bits of stuff that are from the background. Right there where I went over that oil pastel, it's a resist even for this pen, so that's going to be a cool effect. I'm going to draw a little bit of a butterfly body right there, just the least little bit. I'm careful not to stick my hand in parts of my painting that are still wet. And the one fun thing about this is there's no real need to be very exact. So you don't have to get stressed out if your lines are a little wiggly and not perfectly straight. But there's that, and it's still too wet up here at the top, so I can't put the antenna on yet. So I'm going to need to just start deciding where might I like some more pattern and what kind of details. And I think I'm going to put some dots, right, or circles. Let's make it circles right inside these little scallopy things that I put across the bottom. That gel pen is not really popping out as much as I thought it would, and it may be that there was still too much dampness in the paper preventing that from happening. So that just means I'll have to go over it again another time so that it shows up good. But I've got it showing up good enough that I can go over it again. This is where I said though sometimes the mystery results happen because you can't see the ink when you're first applying it. So I may get something a little bit not what I thought I was drawing, but it's almost always really pretty anyway. So we'll hope that that dries in a way that I can see it more. And I don't know that it's going to show up well on this pastel background, but because I already put it there once, I'm going to go over it again. If it doesn't show up good this time, I'll go over it with a different kind of pen. I could also use a white colored pencil, and that might get me some results that I can see better. But there's a little bit of that. Now let's see. I think I'm going to use some blue of some sort, because I want to bring some of this color over into this thing a little bit more than it is, and I'm going to do that with lines. So at this point, I've got this whole set of colored Sharpies that I can use. They're very ultra or extra fine points, so those will be good. And then I've got a set of watercolor markers here in some pastel colors. These would probably be pretty, and these are dual tip markers, meaning there is a brush tip on it, but also there's a marker, more of a fine point marker. It's not an ultra fine point, but it's still more of a marker instead of the brush, because this one you can lay down big swaths of color. Oops. And with this end you can draw lines. So I'm going to just put some lines on here with this, and I think I'll go around. Oops, this color is going to be about as dark on here as my gel pen, but I like subtle sometimes, so I'm going to go with it. When I get over in that area where I use my oil pastel, that gets on the tip of my marker, so I want to be sure and clean that off. It's not exactly marking a nice, smooth, consistent line, but that broken line is actually an interesting pattern, so I'm going to leave that in there too. And I think I will get a slightly darker color. Let's see, I said I wanted to put in some blue, so let's use this light blue, and I'm going to put a line about like that. And then I'm going to fill that in, that area there, with a little bit of a line pattern. Now, I like how that's starting to look like a big circle there, so I'm going to extend that line a little bit. And then I'm going to switch to, let's see, I think this blue is a slightly different color blue. Let's just see what happens if I move to this, and I'm going to put this, ooh, yeah, it is, right down there. That makes a nice pattern. Okay, I like that. Now, I think I'm going to do a little bit more of this scallop kind of a pattern. And I am not trying to make them match, but I am doing the same pattern. So I'm going to call this quasi-symmetrical. It's gonna have balance. It's just not going to be, this side isn't going to be a mirror image of this side. And I'm not I'm not even making an effort to do that. But let's see here. You know what? I think some little ovals of color. And the next thing that I want here. And I am, again, making this up as I go. It's doodling, but it's also art. I mean, like, you know, you can end up with something you could call a fine art painting from doing this. That's pretty. And I think I'll go back to the lighter blue, and I'm going to use the brush end and kind of brush on a bit of an edge like that. There, I like that. That's starting to look good. This is where I wish we were actually doing a Zoom meeting so that we could stop and you guys could hold yours up and I could see what you're doing. I'm going to put some purple on here now. And I think I'm going to, you know what, I'm going to do a straight line. I'm going to kind of color some of this down in between my scallopy parts. So it's sort of a straight line with triangles. Can't see all of the lines where I made the scallop edge on this side, so I'm going to just make adjustments as I go. And once again, it's not going to be a perfect match to the other side, but it's got the same general idea. So that meets with my desire for a little bit of symmetry there. I want some big swoopy something in there, but I'm not seeing exactly how I want it yet. Oh, I did just get an idea for it. I wonder if this orange marker is going to show up enough. I'm going to bring this down here and make that go there. I like that. Now I'm going to use some pink, and I've got a really bright pink right here, so this is going to be perfect. And I'm going to just put some dots around there. And make a circle there, and a circle there. I think I'll make another circle around the first circle. And then I'm going to use a darker purple and make it shaped like this. Keep feeling like I maybe got my finger stuck in something wet on here. But there, that's looking nice. Now I'm going to use this pen again and make an additional line here. really close to the first line on both sides. Do that again on this side. That's looking good. Go back to this color again and beef up the strength of this line by just coloring that in a little bit. My paper is still a little bit wet, so I'm being cautious where I put my finger down. Oh, I wasn't cautious. I got it in wetness, and it made a little mark right there. And I don't know if you could see it or not, but it's actually really cool. I can paint with the accidental paint that I got on my finger. I can just go over here somewhere, and well, it's not going to work now because it dried. But you know, use my hand as a print applicator, like a stamp. Okay, that's good. Now I'm going to bump up these lines a little bit. Mostly on the outer edges, so it has a good, I want that definition to be there. Okay, that looks good. Now I'm going to think. There's a lot of thinking involved in this. A lot of, you know, take your time, step back, have a sip of your water or your tea or your wine, whatever you happen to have in your cup. Oh, I hope you didn't hear that. My stomach just growled. I missed my bagel. My morning bagel. I thought I was going to have plenty of time. I had a bunch of stuff I was doing this morning, things I was working on, and I thought, oh, I'll have time to sit down and have a bagel or do something around lunchtime after I go get the cameras all set up. That went out the window. But I think we're doing okay. This camera isn't freezing anyway. Nope. So, let's see. This is almost dry. I could almost put my antenna up there, but I want to wait for it to be the whole way dry because I still do want to do that with white. I feel like I need some more pink, but I want a brighter pink than what I've got. So I'm going to pull out this set of markers and get this really bright pink marker out of here. This is also a brush marker. And I guess it's watercolor. Okay, I've made up my mind. I want pink in there. Now I need to make a decision on exactly what I want to do with this pink. I think I'll do some pink swirls right here. I like how that looks. Again, it's not an exact match to what's on the other side, but generally speaking, it's pink swirls on each side, so that works. Now, I think I want to go ahead and color that pink inside there. Yeah, I like that. I'm almost ready to call the top wings done. I think they're pretty. Now let's see, I'm going to put a little bit of lines coming down out of here because that seems like a good idea at this moment. And my gold dots didn't do much here, so I'm going to color in inside of those scallopy things, but going around the gold dot that I put in there. Again, back to the beginning when I told you it's best to not have too distinct of a plan. I had the general idea of what I wanted to do, but I didn't know that I was going to paint this pink right here. I didn't make my mind up to do that until just now. I'm kind of letting this paint and this painting take control, and I'm letting my imagination and my spur of the moment choices determine where this paint is going. I mean, this painting, where this artwork is going. Yeah, I like that. Now it could almost be done. I want to put a little bit more in it than this, but it's getting really close to the point that I'm starting to go slower with deciding what I want to put in there. I am going to put in some yellow, and I think I want some of this marker, and I'm going to try a little bit of this. So these I know I want to put in there, so I'm going to put those in my hand. These colors right here will add, I think they'll add something good to this. So now that I've got these in my hand, I'm going to look and see what I might want to put in here. I think I'm going to use yellow and fill this area in with some kind of large colored in ovals, just to fill in the space. I think that looks good. So I'm going to do the same thing on this side. This side has a more yellow background to begin with, so it's going to look different. And my spacing is not exactly the same, so it'll look different for that. But while it isn't exactly the same, it's still got yellow ovals and yellow ovals. So I like it. Now, I could also I'm going to use this green and I'm going to outline this. And I'm going to just fill it in with really thin lines. Got my hand in something again. That looks good. It needs something around here, and I'm not sure what yet. And I need to fill in some more design here. think I'm going to just put a line here and a line here. And then bring this down and around here. There, like that. I'm getting hungry too, Sally. Creating art can be hard work to relax and make art. That's what I think. Relaxing is not my natural state. Let's see here. I'm going to put sort of an upside down teardrop shape right here. And again on this side, because I want to make 3 of them, I'm going to have to make them smaller than I made them on the other side to fit 3. Okay, that's good. Now, I might try the gel pen again to see if I can get anything showing up here. Oh, these, by the way, can you see these now? The paint, the gel ink dried, and now you can see these little flower shapes that I put here. They're not, my lighting, I apologize, is not great, but you can see them. So let's see here. If I put this, I'm going to put some white right along here beside these pink lines that I drew. Just to kind of emphasize those. Let's see if I can do the same thing over here and make it show up. Some on the inside of that line. How am I going to get those? I'll just do these lines like this. Hopefully when that dries, it'll be bright enough that I can see it. Can go over top of this purple marker here and put some white dots in here. I really like the effect of the white lines over top of this, so I'm going to get this in here. I guess I'll put a white dot in the center of that pink one. Now, if this was showing up really nice and bright, I would put bright white lines in here, but it's not going to show on this side. Not as well as I would like it to show. So I've got to think on that for a minute. I'm jealous Bill's having lunch. Don't know how I want to put that in there. I'm going to go around these and see if that'll show up. Because my lines on my pink right there are showing, so I'm glad of that. And then I'm going to make this come out here and go down. Wait for that to dry and see if I can see it good enough. If I can see it well, I'll continue that with the gel pen. If it dries too light, then I'll put the same lines in there, but I'll do it with a different color. Something. So in the meantime, you know, I'm just going to go ahead with this white. I'm going to hope that this is good enough. And I'm going to put a little zigzag pattern in here. I can see this because I'm leaning down over it. I'm hoping it's going to show up good on the camera. It looks pretty right here in the daylight, so. Oh, Sally, good idea. Use black. That's true. I could really, I think you just gave me a great idea. I'm going to use some black. But I gotta, because I put the white there, I gotta put it on this side too now, first. There is kind of a trick to using these gel pens where you have to make sure you're laying the ink down. Got it on there pretty good, and if that will show up good, if not, I'm going to outline it with black. And that being the case, let's see here. I put these on here and they didn't show. So I'm going to switch to black. And I have a whole bunch of these micron pens. I have so many of them, I had to start marking which are new and which are old. These old ones, like that's a 3. And this is my new 3. These will make more consistent lines than these. These will have some skips and stuff. And sometimes the skips add a really cool, they add something interesting. So I'm going to look for my old one that is a 1. It is. A couple of these are sepia too, though, so I'm going to make sure I got the black one. Alright. My table's getting all covered up with markers and pen. It looks like I'm doing something here. Alright, so first outline that. Now I'm going to put this little pattern in here. And I'm just going to go ahead and make more lines really thin and really close together inside of there. Almost like some sort of a webbing or something. Some of this stuff can get real reminiscent of like spider web, which theme-wise goes along really good with the butterfly. Just alter this and follow the angle that I've already got going on this other line here. And I don't have it over here, so I'm going to make it up. Then I've got a little bit of space over here, and I'm going to put teeny tiny little triangles on it, coming off of my gold outline that I first put on there. And since I'm using my old pen, it's not coloring as solidly and as dark as the new pen would, and I like it. It's got a lacy kind of appearance that way, which is perfect for my butterfly theme. I guess I'm going to put some little dots to continue that right up through there. Do his body a little bit more definition. Oh, I like it. Okay, now put some little black lines under these. I've got all kind of stuff going on in this part because my pen is skipping and there's some resist under there. Right under this part. And there too. I like that. Now that white showed up in the top part up there, but I think it would look better if I added some black, so I'm going to add it. Because I didn't leave space for adding extra outlines, some of my lines are overlapping, and I like the look that I'm coming out with that. So again, it wasn't planned, it just happened, but it looks good. This is why I say sometimes I let my pieces talk to me and tell me what they want to be. Pretty. And I'm going to outline these yellow bits. I'm going to give the white gel pen one more shot. Being a star. I'm going to need to let that dry before I outline it anymore with the black. I'm going to ahead and give a little bit of outline to these flowers here. Now I'm smelling food, so I'm going to have to wrap this up. There's nobody here cooking. So. There. I think I like that. It's got a lot going on in there, but I think it's pretty. I'll probably let it gel for a day, and then I'll come back and see what else I need to do to just make it really pop. I'll probably end up putting a black outline around the whole outside of the butterfly because I think that'll look pretty. But when I'm finished with it, I'll probably post a picture of it on my Facebook page or on my website, or maybe both. So you can look for it there if you're interested in seeing what mine finished looking like. And if you want to put yours on my Facebook page, I'd love to see what you created. And Jackie, you can tell Bill if he wants to post a picture of his. I'd like to see that. My Facebook page probably the easiest place to put that. But anyway, thanks for painting and coloring with me today. Hope y'all had fun. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope my camera problems didn't make it too crazy. Let's see. Don't know. Okay, thanks, Jackie. Thank you, Sally. I guess I'll say bye now. Whoever else might be out there watching, thanks again for joining me. I'll be back again 2 weeks from now. I'm going to be doing this the first and third Friday afternoons for a little while, just to see how that's working, and hopefully you'll join me if you have time, if it fits your schedule, and we'll have fun drawing and painting again. So see you later.